Awesome. So Max, thank you. And first, I'd like you to introduce Unmuted and what awesome things you guys do.
Yeah, sure. So Unmuted is a B2B marketing agency, and we collaborate. We embark on long-term collaborations with our customers, which are all B2B SaaS companies, typically registered in or headquartered in the Netherlands or Central Europe, with also typically a focus in either the Dutch market or Central European countries. The service that we provide is called the Growth Program, which is basically a process, which I guess is also the main difference between us and different other agencies, that we're a process-driven agency, not a project-driven agency. So we execute a growth process, experimentation process to help companies validate assumptions, test hypotheses, experiment with cool new initiatives and campaigns to see what works. And the stuff that works, we try to scale it up and turn it into a playbook that we then hand over to their internal marketing team to help them improve their go-to-market engine. So to say, our companies or our customers, they work with a growth marketing manager as a point of contact, who's a marketer as well. But that person will be backed by a full go-to-market team, ranging from growth strategist, designer, developer, content marketer, SEO specialist, marketing automation specialist, and so on. So through one person, our customers, they get a full go-to-market team to help them grow.
Awesome. Yeah, we've looked in the past, and you guys do an amazing job. I know a lot of large B2B companies trust you. So I want to ask, the clients you work with, are they mostly established B2B companies, or do you also take on up-and-coming pre-launch startups?
Currently, the companies like this, the companies that we work with are already established. I'd say there's a balance of a few companies who are pre or near product market fit, I'd say, but already gaining traction. And then there's a couple of more scale-up companies who have very solid product market fit. And then there's also a bucket of companies that are a bit more mature, more SMB, who are trying to like reinvent themselves or automate parts of their business, which means they also need to rethink their go-to-market strategy, which in most cases was heavily relying on sales outbound motions, where with those new products or services that they try to market, they want to add a more like a marketing based motion, and that's where we step in. So I guess it's 3 buckets, like a bit more early stage, then scale up, and then beyond that phase.
Yes, but all of them are companies who have launched their products already. And
yes.
Nice. And of course, we bother with referral marketing. So I'm gonna ask you where when you have a new clients onboarding and you come up with a strategy, most people don't think that B2B is a common place to have a referral program scheme, mostly because referral programs are usually B2C stuff like fintech applications. Mm-hmm. But when did you use it? Do you use it with your clients, and what determines that if a client is worth an investment in a referral program?
So what we see in B2B, typically, of course, all or a lot of sales opportunities are the result of multiple touch points or multiple points of influence, where we typically see that when word of mouth or referral or community reference happens, that typically is like the most strong push potential buyers could get to declare their interest in a certain product and potentially book a demo or start a trial account. So in that sense, stimulating word of mouth or stimulating referrals is always something to explore. Typically, what we see is that even though you would potentially create a referral program or share it with your customers, it could be that they don't directly interact with that referral program, so that they follow like the process of the referral program. But the fact that you display it, that helps you nudge them to think, hey, I could maybe share this with some other people in my network. So what we typically see is that those types of initiatives in B2B, they like the referral program, it can work for a bit, like it probably works in B2C, but typically it's more a nudge to stimulate that word of mouth beyond just the usage of the referral software.
Nice,
If
nice.
that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And I think that's the why most of our programs happen in B2C, mostly because people, the rewards are much more tangible. And
Look, the issue is like people are addicted to transactional data, right? So that they can see, they can point, hey, this thing, specifically this thing worked because we put time in there and it has a dashboard and it says the chart is going in the right direction, so this thing works. But then if the dashboard of the tool doesn't show the chart looking great, in B2B, it doesn't have to mean that nothing is happening. Typically, a lot of stuff is happening, but you can't track it or you can't attribute it to that single initiative, which makes total sense in my opinion, because any result in B2B is never the outcome of just one single thing. It's always multiple things combined that make people shift from not in market or not ready to buy in market and slowly becoming curious to buy or ready to buy. And introducing or initiating a referral marketing program can yield great results beyond what you can directly track or attribute. So it's, in my opinion, also a mindset thing, of a mindset point of view, that companies should really, like B2B companies should really understand, like, hey, we're going to do this initiative. We believe that it will drive interesting results, but we also are aware that we are probably not going to be able to track it like any consumer brand will be. And if that's the mindset, if you manage to obtain that mindset in an organization, then I think you can see great results, because it releases the pressure on prove that it works, and it allows room for creativity and just go with the flow and work your best way through setting up such a campaign.
yeah, I completely agree with that, and I think that's one of the key things I see from the outside, from you as Max, and admitted that I think your key selling point is that you don't want to be just on the Google Analytics dashboard, and how all things are
No,
connected. And it fits with what you said with the referral program, that it's not just that you have the referral program there, it's just the fact that you have there psychologically helps fuel word of mouth.
correct. And like, in a way, like I'd be interested. So for example, one of the signals that we also look into when working with customers, especially when we launch like new campaigns, or whether it's an advertising campaign or some sort of content campaign, or could be a referral campaign, we take a look at potential leading indicators instead of lagging indicators. Examples of lagging indicators, of course, are demo requests, quote requests, trial account creation, and so on. But leading indicators are things that tell you, hey, we might be going in the right direction, or probably things are moving or are in motion. And one of the things that we look at, for example, is trends in how many people actually see the demo request form, or how many people actually see the trial account creation form. And not necessarily if that also means that they convert into a requested them, or that they request them or convert into a trial. But the fact that it's trending means that more people are exploring that option, but they're thinking also of their own agenda and their time, if now is the right time to declare that intent and to make themselves known, because they know that a sales process or an onboarding flow will follow, and they're not always ready. They not always have the bandwidth to embark on that right now. So, like in a referral program, B2B referral program, I would also more look at how many people were exposed to the referral program, and do we see any like trends in direct traffic increase or branded search increase, because a lot of people are getting aware of certain tactics and they still work, but they don't engage with the tactic or with the software directly. Instead, they just take their phone out of their pockets and they Google your brand name, and then that's a branded search. And then guess what? They could start a trial, or they can book a demo. But that's not because you are good at Google. It's because you managed to influence them properly in a different channel, which you can't track.
Exactly. I think you're triggering a lot of the marketing industry there, saying that if the page does not have a conversion, it might still be good, which is, I
Yeah,
think it's very opposite to the status quo of optimize conversion rates and all those things, which I don't think are bad, but you're very right. You will get customers from Google thinking that you're good at Google, but it's so many other factors that contributed to that search.
exactly. And to establish that belief system, what we like to call it, like that we believe that doing good marketing or exposing people to good content or to good offers, or um, uh, create cool programs or campaigns, when you believe that that will all attribute to more demand for your service, which you can then obviously capture and turn into opportunities, um, then it's not going to be the discussion about how much clicks or how many actual deals did we get from the referral program, or from the LinkedIn ad, or from that one SEO blog. And it becomes more like, hey, how did all that contribute to telling our story as effectively as possible to people within our audience?
That's
And that's a
amazing.
completely different approach.
That's amazing. And indeed, it's very different. Instead of the classic, just put all your money in the ads and things
Yeah.
like that, direct analytics. Now, in keeping it in the same nature of like stimulating a lot of aspects at the same time, what are some other ways that you use to stimulate word of mouth besides deploying a referral program? Are there any other things B2B can do to get more word of mouth?
Yes, definitely. So one of the easiest examples, and I still see many B2B SaaS companies or B2B tech companies today who don't take the time to create proper case studies. It's such a simple initiative. You ask one of your best customers who you're friends with, you do an interview with them, you put them on a podium, right? You put them on a stage, they can shine, they can look great on your stage, and guess what? They're going to help you co-promote that case study, because it's an interview about them, and then obviously there will be a small like hook, what they managed to achieve with your service. So that's all in balance. But if you create a nice case study where it's just an honest interview with one of the founders or one of the managers that you've been working with directly, um, they will go promote it with you, or they might even share it with their newsletter, or they send it to their peers. Say like, hey, I did this cool case study with this company, and then guess what? Typically, your ICP, your ideal customer profile, their network exists of more people who are also an ICP for you. So that's like doing customer marketing. It's one of the easiest ways to stimulate network effect, word of mouth, referrals. and so on.
And in terms of, let's say you have the referral program, which usually has some rewards besides just giving them a referral link or a referral code. Uh, Regardless if you think the referral program will bring direct conversions, what rewards do you usually use to stimulate word of mouth? Is it discounts? Is it physical products, Amazon cards? Do you have like guidelines on that part?
Mm,
What have you seen
so
to work best? Obviously, not a
yeah,
it's not a rule.
yeah. I mean, so there's obviously a bit of a difference between like referral program and affiliate programs. I think affiliate programs, especially like with a cut on a SaaS fee, for many agencies, that can be quite an interesting model because they sell the software to one of their or to their client roster, and then in return to get a cut of the recurring revenue. So that typically like works quite well. But if you think more in a referral program of like a customer who should just share his referral link with their peers, then just a small like cash incentive typically is not enough to make them feel it's worth their while, because in B2B budgets are like of an incredibly different size, that like a 50 euro or maybe a t-shirt or something like that won't always do the trick. But hey, I don't know, like I've for example I followed a course at Growth Tribe many years ago. They provide great courses. I think I'm actually a small part as one of the case in their courses, and I get like WhatsApp messages and LinkedIn DMs like all the time from people asking like, "Hey, is that course good? Would you recommend it?" And then every time I recommend it to them, I'm like, "Oh man, I should have a referral link, because they could just book it through my referral link, and then I don't know, I could get a small incentive, or I don't know, maybe a free T-shirt. I don't know, whatever." That would have worked great. But the hard part is with making referrals in B2B is that that typically people aren't as keen on getting the 10 euro, 50 euro or t-shirt as in B2C people will be. So yeah, thinking of best practices, I guess, to just make it easy for people, like, hey, if you know anyone, like, use this link, potentially we could give you a discount on your current subscription. I guess that could be a very relevant incentive for a B2B company.
Nice, nice. And it makes a lot of sense. Also, because there are companies and perhaps the employees of the company are not as keen to refer the software. Perhaps only the founder and the board is as
Correct.
involved with that. Now, do you have any mistakes that companies do in killing their word of mouth? You said that the lack of case studies is a big one, but are there any other, perhaps other two mistakes that can kill your word of mouth, like have a negative impact?
Ooh, a negative impact. That's a great question. I mean, so I'd say like, of course, there are many things that you can do to negatively influence word of mouth. But I think those things will also negatively impact a lot of other factors in your business. Things like poor customer success or customer support, lack of overall communications, lack of online resources where people could self-educate, poor product delivery, obviously drives terrible business results and also terrible word of mouth. But I guess one of the key things in word of mouth gets created, and word of mouth also can get captured, right? So I think word of mouth creation just happens by following, like, creating cool content, post on social media, build up nice relationships with your customers, educate them, share your knowledge with them freely, build a great product, do great customer support and stuff like that. That will naturally build word of mouth and a positive image around your company. But then being able to capture that word of mouth also means looking at capture channels like Google or review sites. And that's definitely where I think like, hey, you should definitely be very easily findable on all those different search terms that people, or different terms that people might use to explain your service to their peers. And then when they forgot your brand name, but they just still search for your category solution, that they end up in your place, or that they end up on the review side like a G2 site or Capterra, where they read about positive testimonials from other people or other buyers for them to review. So best practices there. Yeah, make sure that when word of mouth gets created, it's also very easy to capture that, which means making it easy to be findable and capture demand channels.
That's a very important distinction, and something I don't think we talk enough about when we all talk about generating that word of mouth and that good press. So let's say a client comes to you, and perhaps they already have word of mouth. The founder is very popular, and they have great content and everything. How can they capture more of it, or how actually do they know that they haven't captured it all? Because those things are obviously very hard to track.
Yeah, it's super hard to track. Like one of the first things that I would look at is Google Search Console, to see also if there are like trends or like interesting keywords that you didn't think were meaningful in the context of like more performance or acquisition sense. But for example, like one thing I see many companies do wrong is that typically their founders or some of their senior managers, they have a personal brand, they have a track record, they have past like former colleagues that they work with. And what we see in B2B SaaS and overall B2B, that the about page or the team page is one of the most visited pages before actually taking action, like booking a demo, starting a trial. Why? Because yeah, business, like people working at business, they want to do business with people. So you need to show those faces. So for example, when we work on improving or upgrading or updating websites of our customers, one of the first things we do is create a team page, like an about page with individual team member landing pages, and then make sure that the name of the founder is on a separate URL, right? So if a person Googles the founder name, that your company actually shows up in the first spot on Google with the founder's name, with a bio, with a call to action, with a link to his LinkedIn profile or her LinkedIn profile, something like that. So I think that's where you can also capture some very interesting demand already for people who are just a fan of the founder or fan of the founders of their work, or they follow them. And then this is a way you can capture that and turn it into opportunities.
I think that that's very in line with the book Founders Brand by
Correct. Dave Gerhardt.
So, yeah, exactly. I love that marketer. It's so good.
Correct.
That's very interesting to say. But what about in B2B? Usually, the industry is not as interesting as founders of B2C companies who are, a revolutionary product or a super new cool tech like ChatGPT or whatever. B2B are just tools, so they usually are not as interesting as founders from more common things. How do you work around that, or is that the case with your clients?
So typically our customers, they have created a software solution that solves a business critical problem or helps companies seize a very, very important challenge in their business, opportunity in their business. The companies we work with, they typically started these companies out of personal frustration because they were in a situation themselves before. Then they saw this doesn't work well. I'm going to fix this problem, and I also know my ICP by heart because I used to be one of them. Having that track record or having that build up as a founder or co-founders to building a company to solve a problem or a frustration you once had in your life, that's always the ideal starting point for leveraging a founder brand. Because the founder brand, this person has the story, this person has the enthusiasm about solving the problem or helping companies seize the opportunity. So it could be a very, very strong growth lever, because there's potential like network effect opportunities there. But when the technology becomes so disruptive or so big or so important, you could also argue that spending time on building that founder brand won't necessarily yield better results than just focusing on a lot of demand capture, because there's already huge demand for your products and services. But if you have a demand creation problem, so you established a new category solution and you want to make more people aware of the existence of that solution, then you will be very likely to have a demand creation problem. And one of the most effective ways to solve a demand creation problem with low resources is using a founder brand.
That makes a lot of sense, and also just makes it more human. Because it seems
Yes.
like B2B is very inhumane. Just businesses talking as a building, or even
100%.
and I think it makes it much more fun, even if the industry is boring. Like
Correct.
B2B people, I think, make a joke that well, one day you were 18 and having fun, and then you're thinking about B2B marketing. Ooh.
That's literally the joke of the century, or the tweet of the century. I could not agree more.
Yeah, nice. And approaching like the end of my questions.
Sure.
And the last thing I want to ask is mainly, how do you prioritize word of mouth? So you have a new client that comes to Unmuted, and where do you fit it in with the rest of the growth strategy? Where do you put the ads? Is it when do you focus on word of mouth? When do you not focus on word of mouth? Do you have any principles that you follow?
Yeah. So when we work with a customer, obviously we always do an assessment, like what's the maturity right now, like where are they at currently, and what are their goals, what's their ambition? Because typically they approach us because they see us as a bridge, right? And I need to know like where they're right now and where they want to be, because I know what type of bridge I need to build. Then I look at, okay, what you guys have already been doing. Did you get any traction of it, or didn't you like do anything yet, or did you do a lot of things but then very poorly? And that helps me or us or our team establish like, okay, this is where we're at right now. These are the goals. These are probably the initiatives that we think will help us get to that point as soon as possible or as fast as possible in a sustainable way. But then there's always as well the factor budget, right? Some startups, they have very limited budget to also spend on media, like advertising. So they would have to look more at organic plays, and organic can have a slow or a bit of a slower start than obviously advertising, which is quite immediate. So yeah, if it would be more low budget and you would just spend your time creating content, then yeah, obviously you need to look at like what's going to drive results fast and what's going to drive results to the mid and long term. So you always want to have like a balance of doing things like, hey, what can we do, what works right now, and what can we do, or what should we do to make sure that in 6 months time or 12 months time we can reap the benefits of that work. And I guess that's always like a, I don't know, 70-40, 70-30 or 60-40 percent divide. But yeah, in terms of what to focus on, like, we always want to do organic stuff first, especially for a startup, because organic really allows you to like use algorithm, like newsfeed algorithms or stuff like that, to see whether or not you're getting traction on what you're communicating. And a lot of startups face that they think they know what they need to communicate, but it's definitely not what they should communicate. And then if you go and communicate the wrong thing with expensive paid ads money, then yeah, you're burning through cash big time. So it's also very important to understand what the maturity is, if the product market fit is clear or not, and so on. So yeah, it's a bit of I guess a mix of parameters or variables where you have to look at before you can even think of prioritizing what to focus on first.
Awesome. I think those are very clear guidelines. Makes sense. I think best advice is sounds simple, but I usually still
Cool.
follow. So that's the interview part. I'll skip the recording.
Nice.